Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to my class. In the series of learning programming in C, in the previous video, we have discussed about functions in C. We have seen what is function, different types of function, and the need for function, that is advantages of function. Well, we have described about the types of function, that is library function, that is system defined function, and user defined function. So we are in the flow of user defined function and we are learning how to deal with functions in C. In today's video, we will discuss about function definition, or what we call it as structure of function. So those who are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon so that you can get the notification of all the new videos. So this is what the structure of user defined function, or what we call it as function definition. We call it as function definition part. That is, the name itself tells you function definition. Function, nothing but task. Defining the task, it is called as function definition. Try to understand in a simple way always. Function is a task. Definition means we're trying to define the task. So for example, if I want to perform the addition of two numbers, then I need to define what actually the task is going to do with. It is going to input two numbers, it is going to compute those two numbers, and it is going to display the result. That is what the definition. So how to write that definition? So we have some proper syntax for it, structure for it. The structure is like this. Written type of the function, followed with the name of the function and a list of arguments, along with the declaration. Along with the declaration, list of arguments list. Arguments list we need to give with declaration. Coming to the return type here, let me finish this part. Return type specifies what type of value the function is going to return. So for example, I am performing the addition of two integer values. So what will be the result of the addition of two integer values? Obviously integer. So I am returning integer value. So that data type I need to mention. That is what return type. And every function may or may not return the value. It may return the value or it may not return the value. If it is not returning any value, even then we have to mention a type for it. And that is what void. We'll discuss about that. If it is returning some value, we have to specify the data type of that. See, some function may return integer value or float or double or character. It depends upon the scenario of the function. Some function may not return any value, then I need to mention void. We have to mention void. Void means empty data type. You may get this question, the Viva and all. What is void? Void is empty data type. So if the function is not returning any value, then the return type should be void. Followed with that, function name. So when I say function name, I need to have the function name which is pertaining to the task. So I am performing addition means I can have the function name as add itself. So I am performing some factorial function. So I can have the function name as factorial. I want to just have a very small function that is computing some GCD or LCM. I can have the function name as GCD. So like this, I have to have the function name that is going to match with the task that what I am going to perform. It should be relevant to the task, not irrelevant to the task. And again, we have some naming convention for these identifiers. Even function name is an identifier. So identifier rules we have discussed in the previous video. What it says what can be used, what cannot be used, and some restrictions. Alphabets, digits, and underscore can be used. Special symbols, keywords, blank space cannot be used. Case sensitive. It is case sensitive. And some rules like this, some restrictions like this. So we have to follow that naming convention. See, identifier, function name is also one identifier, means we have to follow the same rules. of identifiers. And within bracket, so when I have a function name followed with the bracket, then it indicates that it's a function. So bracket indicates that it's a function. So we call this brackets as parenthesis. So parenthesis, a name followed with a parenthesis indicates that it's a function. And in that parenthesis, we may have the arguments list sometimes, or we may not have, because there is no rules that every function should take arguments. Should take arguments means inputs. Some function may take input and some function may not take. They may access global values also. We'll come to that in the next coming video. What is local variable and global variable, all those things. We will deal that in separate videos. Okay. So here arguments list means the list of input that what we are going to the function. And that list should be with the declaration. Means if I say the function is taking two integer values, then that declaration, in the declaration, I need to mention the data type of that followed with the variable name. So again, we have to talk about the naming conventions of the arguments. All those things comes into picture. We will discuss that one by one. And one more thing, there is no semicolon here because we are defining the code. We are defining the code, so there should be no semicolon. That you should make sure that function definition will not have semicolon because we are defining it. When we are defining it, we shouldn't terminate there, right? Because it has to get inside this block and execute this. So there should be no semicolon. That you should remember. Okay. Then, inside this block, what to write? We have to write the statements that deal with that particular task. When I say I am performing some specific task, what actually the task is going to do with, that I need to explain with a set of statements. So I say local variable declaration. So again, we have to discuss about what is local variable here. Okay, we'll come to that one by one. Then some executable statements. We can have n number of statements. Executable statement 1, 2 and n number of statements. And then you can see one more special thing here, which is saying written. Some expression. So what is this written? It's a keyword. It's a keyword. Written is a keyword. And what this written is going to do, as soon as the compiler encounters this written keyword, it will get to know that it has to return some value. So some expressions should be involved here. Some variable or some expression will be involved there. And how many value this written statement can return? It can return only one value. Only one value it is going to return. And that return type will be matching with this return type. So if I am returning integer value, then this return type will be integer. Like that. So this is what with the function definition, or what we call it as structure of function. When I say user is defining a function, means we need to follow the protocol. We need to follow the syntax, format. And this is what the format, and this format we have to follow. This is function definition. So this is only one part of the function. Now the question arises, like where to place this function definition? We have only learnt one part of the program, that is main function. Where to place this function definition? Again a question here. So when I say I am defining a function, this is the function definition, that what I am saying, structure of function. Function definition itself is not sufficient. This is only one part that what I told. There is another two parts. There are another two parts. So which are those two parts which is left out here? So that we need to see. We have three parts of function. One is function declaration, or we also call it as function prototype. We call it as function declaration, function prototype, or function header. That is the first part. So this is what the first part of the function. Second part is function call. And the third part is function definition, that what we saw previously. the structure of function definition, that what we saw, right? So here we have dealt with this part. This part is done. So we learned how to define a function. Function definition part we have learned. Return type, function name, argument list, open and close bracket. Then all the variable declaration statement, executable statements, return expression if required, right? But when I say I am defining a function, so I have to declare it. Like how we use the variable. So before we use it, we declare the variable. In the same way, before we use the function, we have to declare that function, and that is what the function declaration or function prototype part. How to write that? We'll see that. Then, second part. Once the function is declared, we need to invoke that function. That is what function call. How to call a function? We'll see that. So once a function is invoked, it will go to the definition part. How to define that? We have seen it. Now let us see the syntax of function declaration. Again, syntax of function prototype, or what we call it as declaration. So how it will be? Again, it will have return type. So when I say function declaration means how actually the function should be, the proper format we need to specify. We need to declare it properly. So there again comes the return type. Return type of the function followed with the function name and the list of arguments with the declaration. Close the bracket, and it's a declaration, so semicolon is must and should. No open and close brackets. So this is what the syntax of function declaration or prototype. Return type, the type that what the function, type of value the function is written in, name of the function, any user defined name that is pertaining to the task, that is relevant to the task, list of arguments, the inputs that what the function is taking. It may take or it may not take, it depends. And a semicolon, that what you should remember for declaration, or what we call it as prototype. This is function prototype syntax. What about the syntax of function call? Very simple. Syntax of function call is very simple. So how to have that? It's only function name followed with the arguments and semicolon, which is going to invoke the function. So this is what the syntax of function call. Name of the function followed with arguments. See here, when I say arguments, we have different types of arguments also. We have something called as formal arguments and actual arguments. What actually this formal argument is, what actually this actual and formal, all these arguments, there are some differences here. There are formal arguments, there are actual arguments, where to give this actual arguments, where to give this formal arguments. And first of all, where to place all these three different parts of the function, that is the question mark here. Where to write this prototype, where to have this function call, where to have this function definition. I'll simply write a small format of these three parts, like where we need to place in the complete program. So let us see that now. So here is the complete structure of function. So you will get a complete idea like where the three parts of the functions are placed. Function declaration before the main function. The prototype, that is declaration of the function, that should be before the main. Then the main function starts. Inside the main function, we will have a function call. When a function call is done, so we should have the definition part. Outside the main function, we will have the function definition part. Declaration, call, definition. Declaration above the main, call inside the main, definition again outside the main. So here the three parts are placed like this. Now, how the compiler is going to take the flow of this function, that we need to see in the next video. So stay tuned to my channel. We will see how actually the compiler is going to take the flow of the function. We will see with a complete example, and with execution we will see different concepts of like how to have the actual arguments, how to have the formal arguments. We have something about local variable, global variable, calling function, called function, how the flow takes place. All these things we need to study. So that we will deal in the next video. That's all for today's video. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.